Good evening, everyone. The way in which we consume matters. The way in which we consume matters. Now, we'll unfold that in the gospel in just a moment. Let's take a step back and let's review. Maybe a couple weeks ago, we talked about how when Jesus came to his own native town, he was approached with familiarity rather than with faith. And that's a question that we can ask ourselves. Because as we continue in our daily life, very often we take a disposition towards the Lord of familiarity rather than faith. What kind of work has He done in your life lately that God has done and that you have thought to yourself, wow, I mean, that was truly the work of God in my life. See, that happens when we take a disposition of faith. And faith, again, is not the blind step. Oh, I don't understand it, so I'm going to call it faith. That is not faith. That is not the faith that the church talks about. The faith that the church talks about is what we received as a gift, a free gift, not that we earned it, a freely given gift in our baptism. It is a capacity to know God. It's a capacity to accept that God actually entered the world and revealed to us who we are and who God is. It's a supernatural light that is consistent with reason but goes beyond reason. It's a supernatural knowing. So again, I ask you, the experience of a profound encounter with God, do we remember those experiences? It's those experiences that are a true exercise of faith, and it is from that disposition of knowing God, the living God, that we approach Him and that He continues to act in our life in a profound and a real way. Last week, if you were here at the 5 o'clock, you didn't have the opportunity to hear from our missionary. When our missionary did speak, he was from India. Okay, once a year, the diocese mandates that we have a missionary come, and so we welcomed Father Shinto from India. He's from the bottom portion of India, which is very Catholic. Now, if you caught some of the other masses and you got to hear him speak, it might have been difficult to hear, but I came in afterwards and tried to explain what he said. And this is what he said. At 12 years old, he discerned a vocation to the priesthood. Now, at 12 years old, he decided to go to the missions instead of the diocesan priesthood. Now, in India and in that southern portion of India, becoming a priest, he would be a prince. Okay? They honor the priesthood there in an incredible way. And he would be among a great Catholic tradition and community. Going to the missions, he chose at 12, knowing that he would go into a very dangerous place. In so many words, he said, "Father, I slept so well over at the rectory." So he sleeps kind of with one eye open while he's there at his rectory. I said, "Well, Father, have you ever been assaulted?" "Yes." "Well, maybe you could just tell me." "Well, one particular instance, a group, they were not happy. They accused us of trying to convert the groups, and so a crowd of 50 surrounded my car. They smashed my windshield. They smashed my window. They drug me out of the car. And at that point, the people that I was with surrounded me and did not allow the crowd to get to me. And they got him to another car, and he escaped." Why would anybody do? Well, surely it's for converts, right? No, not where he goes in India. Not allowed to convert there by law. So why is the Catholic Church there? Why do we have people like Father Shinto giving his life in this manner? He does so because even though they're not allowed to convert, they come. Thousands of people come to Mass each week. They can't receive Holy Communion. They can't be baptized. But they're living a Catholic life. And why are they doing that? They're doing that because of the witness of this priest and 5 other people that surround him that are there giving their lives for this reason. The lowest caste does not have education. They have rights under the Indian law and under the country's law, but they don't have the education to understand that they have those rights. And so Father Shinto gives his life that he might go and be a witness of the love of Jesus Christ and encourage those individuals to understand that you are a child of God and that every single person has dignity, and in fact, you have natural, inalienable rights. And these particular rights in your situation are protected under your country, but you have to ask for them. And so he doesn't do it for converts. He doesn't do it for any other reason other than to help these people understand that they are human beings with the same dignity as any other human being, even though you come from the lowest caste. What a beautiful life. I've been a priest for 12 years. I was in seminary for 5 years before that. Been a Catholic all my life. I had no idea that the church was doing this kind of ministry. Wherever there are poor people, wherever there are sick people, wherever there are people that need to be taught, there the Catholic Church is throughout the world. Educating, tending the sick, there to walk with people. What a witness. I will carry Father Shinto's witness with me always from here on out. What a beautiful example of a response to the Lord. 12 years old, he heard the voice. It's possible. It is possible to hear the voice of God at any age. The way in which we consume matters. Now, that really can be seen on a very basic level. You are what you eat. Okay. Have you eaten your fruit today? I have. I had a cherry on my sundae. Okay. All right. What about your vegetables? Did you eat your vegetables? I did. I had some lettuce on my cheeseburger. All right. Have you exercised today? I did some curls, some 12-ounce curls. Okay. All right. You know, I make a joke there in that regard because it's the way in which we consume our Lord Jesus Christ, who is the bread from heaven. And it's really, he's meant to be the center and not the cherry on top. So do we prepare when we come? How many of all of us have, most of us have phones where we could Google the readings. Have you read the readings before you got here? This is not a sense of shame. I'm not shaming anybody here. I'm talking about opportunities to put Christ in the center, and in particular, his very self in the Eucharist. Because he does. And they said, give us that bread. And here it is for us. So how do we access, or how do we approach, or how do we consume in such a way that he's the center? Again, if there's a sin on our heart, we go to confession. after we receive, do we sit down and really relish and realize that I'm carrying the Lord? Ultimately, it goes right back to what I said. You are what you eat. Well, I'm Jesus Christ. Well, we're supposed to bear Christ so that we can bring him to the world. You know, like I said, Father Shinto, those people are not allowed to receive Holy Communion. They're not allowed to convert. Again, the Hindu religion has many gods, so they can go to the service as long as it doesn't become exclusive. And baptism is exclusive. And so is Holy Communion. It says, I believe what the church teaches, and my life is consistent with that teaching. And I am in communion with the Lord through the church. What a beautiful example of those people who come to church, they don't receive, but they live the life. And they do that because Father Shinto receives. And then he takes the Lord and he bears him so that he can bring him to the world. That's what's supposed to happen here today, where we, each one of us, are going to receive and then take him out because the world hungers for Jesus Christ. But it all matters on how we consume. Is he just the cherry on the top of a sundae for the week? Or do we prepare well to receive in such a way that we want to bear him and bring him to the world?